Now, alternative milks have been growing in popularity with more and more people switching to almond, soy or even oat milk varieties. But while some drink the alternatives because they're vegan or lactose intolerant, many Aussies have jumped on the bandwagon believing they are healthier.
The Dietitians Association of Australia has warned even though some milk alternatives can carry a premium price tag of up to $6 a carton, they contain less calcium and protein. Let's get to the bottom of this. Our nutritionist, Susie BURRELL, is with us. Susie, good morning.
Good morning.
To you. All right, let's get stuck into this. I get embarrassed every time I have coffee with my son because he almost orders a almond milk latte. I say, my son, give me a break. Is it any good for you?
Well, they're incredibly popular, and when you look in the supermarkets, there's a huge range available. Now, what's important to remember is they're not actually milk, because of course milk will come from an animal, so they're actually more like nutty water. Yeah. And nutritionally, the issue is that they don't have very much protein, and the range of almond milks in particular that have added calcium is really wide. So some have quite a lot and very comparable to normal dairy milk, and others have literally none. And my biggest concern is if you're swapping it for teenagers and children and you're assuming it's a milk-based product, you kind of infer that it might have the nutrients of milk, and it just doesn't. So first of all, make sure you're looking for an unsweetened variety, because the others will have added sugar. Yes. And particularly in cafes, they're probably using a sweetened variety. That's why it tastes better, because of course unsweetened almond milk doesn't really taste like very much.
I'm ashamed to say I jumped on that almond milk bandwagon and then I jumped off it as soon as I found out how much sugar was in it.
So always look for unsweetened and do a quick
Stop embarrassing your father.
Make sure that it does have added calcium, particularly if you're giving it to your kids.
Yes, good point.
Soy milk. Now, soy milk is nutritionally similar to dairy milk. It does have similar amounts of protein, and generally the major brands will have quite a lot of calcium added. It does have relatively high amounts of carbohydrate, and I would say it's a personal preference whether your preference is for dairy milk or soy milk, and nutritionally it's a good choice. But as always, look for ones that are unsweetened, because again, you can find ones that have extra sugar added. And when you look at the ingredient listing, there can be quite a high mix of additives that perhaps you wouldn't assume is in there. So more like a milk, not technically a milk, but
I didn't realise there's so much sugar in ordinary milk. I know.
It's a naturally occurring sugar, lactose. So it's not added sugar.
They don't whack it
it's not added, whereas with these, generally it's added sugar, so you have to be careful.
Rice?
Rice milk's probably my least favourite choice when it comes to the milk varieties, because really there's not a lot of positive things nutritionally you can say about it. It's very, very low in protein.
All right, let's move on.
It's very low in protein. It tends to be better for those who have allergies, and it's the only option they can have, but it does tend to be really high in added sugars on the whole. And if you're getting one that is unsweetened, it's really just this watery kind of mix with not much in it. So best for those with allergies.
Of it in that glass, Hazy, can we get a pic of that?
Looks like dishwashing water.
It does look like old dishwashing water.
And again, the ones that do have added calcium are few and far between, so really check your labels, and it tends to be best for those who perhaps have an allergy requirement to only be able to use that.
Don't give it to me.
Not a good idea.
I didn't realise there was an oat milk.
This is a new variety. Now, it's marketed as being better for those with high cholesterol because it does have some fibre in it, but it actually has the highest carbohydrate and sugar contents in general of all the milk varieties. Again, some have no added calcium, and so it's got a little bit more protein, but it would never again be my favourite because it's quite high in calories and carbohydrates. So, you know, you might need rice milk if you've got an allergy, you might have a preference for almond milk, but I really can't imagine anyone who needs an oat milk or there's the benefits to add it into the diet.
So stick with the cash cow?
Stick with the cash cow if you can. Soy if it's your preference, and if you are choosing almond milk, just get one with calcium. And remember, they don't have any protein in them, so they're really not technically a milk as we would have if you're ordering a skim cap or whatever your preference is.
So you might as well, if you're having an almond latte, you might as well just have like a little shot of coffee.
Absolutely.
Just have like a little espresso.
Absolutely, because probably the ones in the cafe are adding extra sugar in.
Excellent.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
It is confusing.